It's time to pick your head up, dust your shoulders off, and realize that you're doing it, boo. No more small thinking, no more limiting beliefs. You gotta challenge it with the truth, and the truth is, hello. Welcome back to Patiently Moving, where we talk about how to patiently move through this self-love journey. Because, as I always say, you deserve to love you, and the world will be a better place when you do. I'm your host, Candace J. Dunkley, and yeah, if you've never been here before, first of all, thank you for bearing with me. I know it has been a while since I brought this show to you. I have been trying to get a strong start to the year and get different parts of my life intact, and my consistency with YouTube took a hit. So I posted a poem last week. Now I'm back to the show, and I hope to be bringing you guys regular content. So thank you for joining or rejoining. But yeah, this is where we talk about self-love, how to patiently move through the self-love journey. And today I'm going to be talking specifically about this very dangerous limiting belief. And you know that poem that I told you about? Yeah, I'm going to be using the story behind why I brought that poem back to illustrate how I overcame this limiting belief. So, what is a limiting belief, you may ask? It's all right, come closer and I'll tell you. Come closer. All right. It's I don't know. Tell me you haven't said these words to yourself. I don't know. I don't know is a silent killer to dreams. It's a poison to dreams if you let it fail you and not fuel you. I just thought of that on the top of my head. That's kind of a bar, right? Fail you instead of fuel you. Yeah, because some of us are letting the words I don't know be something terrible in our lives, in our dreams, instead of just saying, oh, I don't know, well, let's figure it out. So I don't know has caused me to go into freeze mode a lot of times. It's caused me to just be fearful, to slow down, maybe even stop. But you know what? Delayed is not denied, and here we are. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. I don't know, and why that's such a dangerous limiting belief, and also how you can claim your power, get your power back, okay? Because, yeah, we don't have to let I don't know get in our way. My poem, Confidence. You may have heard it last week. If you don't, it's linked somewhere up here, so check it out if you didn't hear it yet. But it's all about following your dreams. Because I'm tired of hiding behind Instagram pictures with filters of false happiness, I am taking another step. It came to me during a time when I had just moved back to Westchester, moved back with my parents actually, in order to switch careers and pursue, at the time it was something more creative, and I said, you know what, I want to really pursue poetry and see if I can make a career out of this. And I started going to poetry slams. I performed at New York Poets Cafe, which had always been my goal to be able to compete there. And I competed there, even won there a few times, but I always just felt like I had this weight of fear slowing me down. And also it was just the thought of, how do I get this done? How do I become a paid poet, a career poet? And, you know, when people would ask me, well, how do you make money off of it? Sometimes I would freeze up, or sometimes I would have answers, but I just wasn't taking the steps that I needed to take because I was so fearful. I was taking some steps, like I said, I was doing open mics, I was doing poetry slams, but in terms of making it a business, turning it from a hobby to a business, it was challenging for me, and it was because of those words. Like, I don't know. How do I become a paid poet? How do I make a career out of this? How do I make something that I love into a dream career? Am I even good enough to make this happen? Am I business savvy enough to make this happen? It was all of these fears, and what was pumping it up was, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. So I had this poem that I wrote that was all about having confidence to pursue your dreams, and it also equated confidence to the color red. And it was also about how I was battling up against this fear of, not knowing if I could do it. And I had this line in my poem where I said, I don't know how a poet makes money, much less how to be an entrepreneur. And I said to myself, well, if I keep repeating that line, I'm never gonna know. So at some point I decided to retire the poem. I said, I'm not gonna perform this poem again until I've figured it out, and then it can be a testimony. One day I was doing an open mic on Instagram, and I performed a different poem. It was about finding my future love. Dear future love, I don't know where you are. But I was told in the law of attraction, thoughts become things. So anyway, that was the beginning of the poem. And I was performing this poem, and the host liked my poem so much, she put my Cash App up. At the end of the night, I got Cash App $20. But it made me think, yes, $20 may not be enough to make a living off of, but it was something. And my mind clicked that day, because I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is not the first time I've received some money from poetry, right? I've received money from doing poetry competitions. I've received money doing features. People will give money if they feel led to. They liked your stuff. Those were the ways that I've already made money. So it wasn't fair for me to say to myself, I don't know how a poet makes money. I already do know some ways, because I've made money in some ways. Now, is it enough to make money for a living? No, but I've made some money, and if I can make some money, I can make some more money. And that needed to be my mindset. And then the second thing was that there was also a bunch of things that I had researched. I had talked to poets who were doing it. I had done my research and created ideas about different ways that I can make this happen, right? And so I had the things that I've done, and then I had the things that I researched. So I actually do know how a poet makes money, and it came to me that I didn't have to retire the poem, because if I was waiting to have some answers or to have a testimony in order to be able to do this poem, well, I thought to myself, I already have the testimony. I'm already in it. I know how a poet makes money because I've made money, and I've also researched other ways to make money. And I guess my question is, how many of us are waiting for a testimony, not realizing that we've already realized it? How many of us are waiting for a testimony, not realizing that we're already walking in it? How many of us don't realize that the testimony is now, that you are already accomplishing the things that you've set out to accomplish, and it's time to pick your head up, dust your shoulders off, and realize that you're doing it, boo. You're doing it. And that, for me, was my light bulb moment. I was like, wait a minute. I'm already doing it. And if I'm doing a little bit of it, I can do a lot more of it. But first, I got to get my energy up. I got to get my belief system up. I got to get my thoughts in line with what it is that I know God has for me. No more small thinking. No more limiting beliefs. And when those limiting beliefs come, because they will, you got to challenge it with the truth. And the truth is, I may not have all the answers, but I have enough to get started. And not only do I have enough to get started, but I've already gotten started. It's time for us to give ourselves credit for the things that we've done. This show is all about self-love, and so in the self-love journey, one thing that I talk about is self-discovery, right? And this understanding our thoughts, understanding the thoughts that are holding us back, And then creating powerful thoughts to counteract that and propel us forward is part of self-discovery. You're discovering the things that limit you, and you're also discovering the things that fortify you. And so for me, the things that were limiting were the things that was me dwelling on all the things that I didn't know, and the things that fortify me, that empower me, is when I think about all the things that I already do know. When I think about all the things I already have, all the things that I can utilize, all the tools I already have in my pocket, that puts me in a state of abundance. And if you can think it, you can manifest it. So here we are. And that was my limiting belief that I had to get over, that I had to overcome. The idea of I don't know, and I had to realize I know a lot more than I'm giving myself credit for. And so I want to just encourage you, if you're watching this, you know a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. So if you are coming up and if you are in the same place where you have a goal, you have a dream, and you just don't know how you're going to get it done, one tip for you is to just say, what do I know? Write down the thing it is that you're going after. If you're feeling like, oh, I don't know how to do this, ask yourself, what do I already know? And you'd be surprised at the things that come to you. Then you ask yourself the how. How and where can I find the answers to what it is I don't know? Can I talk to someone? Can I research? How, if I say I don't know, well, the answers are somewhere, so how do I get the answers? So those are things that have helped me, and I hope that helps some of you. And that's it. So this is actually called Patiently Moving. So I want to end on this, something that I'm patiently moving through. If you remember in the shows before, when we did this, we would end the shows by saying something that we're patiently moving through. And then we also end on saying something that we're celebrating. So I am patiently moving through, and then I celebrate myself for. And that's because I think celebration is a big part of self-love. We got to celebrate ourselves. And then empathy is a big part of self-love. We got to empathize with the things that we have to patiently move through, and then celebrate ourselves for moving through it. So I am patiently moving through self-doubt, overcoming self-doubt, believing that I can get this done. With God on my side, woo! I got this. And I celebrate myself for moving through the hard feelings anyway. Yeah, I don't like the feelings of doubt. Yeah, I don't really like being in the unknown. Yeah, I don't actually like when I see the results of limiting beliefs and then having to admit to myself that I held myself back. I don't like that. But what I do know is that in spite of all that, I haven't given up. In spite of all that, I'm still putting up poems. I'm still here speaking to you. I'm still doing it. Even if I feel like the pace could have been different, even if I have to sort things out sometimes, you know what? I still come back. I celebrate myself for coming back. And I thank you for stopping by to Patiently Moving. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. All these things shows YouTube that there are people enjoying this content, and then they will push it out to more people like yourself. And let me know if you have dealt with the limiting belief of I don't know, or any limiting belief. And if you want to share, let us know how you overcame it or what you're planning to do to overcome it. And that is it. That is all. Remember, you deserve to love you, and the world will be a better place when you do. And I will see you later.
I wonder if I'm good enough. And then when I finally feel good enough, I wonder if I'm great enough. But I finally decided who I am will just have to be enough. I am taking another step